All right, folks. So basically, um, we've got this spreadsheet, and if you've not already filled this thing out, you should. So Rob, I'm using Rob as an example here because I've got his done already. He's listed on row 6 of the spreadsheet. He chose to have this URL called devilDog83.com. He's also given me the rest of his information here. So I'm going to take the Devil Dog and I'm going to, and I've already done this actually, I'm going to basically purchase that domain for him, and so it's going to be associated to him. So he's going to own it. He's going to have to pay for it every year, and with the service that I'm using, it's 30 bucks a year, but you get the name and you get the hosting, which allows you to be able to basically set up an entire website with all the bells and whistles. I'm not too concerned about that, but I'm trying to put the database stuff that we're working in context for you. So Access is not going to help you. It's not designed to help you build websites. You might be able to use Access to prototype, and that's what I'm hoping to be able to show you, the value of Access. I don't actually use it that way, but I think you'll begin to see how you can connect the dots a little bit. So anyway, so back to this. Rob asked for devilDog83.com, and what I did was I went to this place called Reclaim Hosting, and I purchased that for him because he had done the research. We had talked a little bit about it, and so I did that. So Rob, if you're listening, I created your username, and to get there, I go to the client area login. Hopefully, waiting. Okay, hello Rob, I'm already logged in. Let me log out so you can actually see how this looks. So let's go back. Reclaim hosting. So client area login. It's going to show up like this. You could choose to remember me. Rob's email address shows up there, but I will send you that information once you give me the domain name you'd like. I assigned a starting password for Rob's account. Rob, you need to ask me for that. When I click login, it takes me to a place that's going to look like this. And you can see that there's one active domain, and if I click on that big red button there, hopefully, it shows me that now Rob is the proud owner of DevilDog83.com. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with that. It's kind of beyond the scope of the class. If you're interested, I'm really happy to help you figure that stuff out, but you can have multiple domains if you like. You can also have subdomains with this particular account. So lots of different ways to fiddle with this, but imagine if you're going to go to look for YouTube, okay? You want to go to the website called YouTube because you want to look at some stuff. You would type in www.youtube.com. If you wanted to visit Rob's website called devildog83.com, you'd go to the web browser and you type in devildog83.com. And if we do that, this is actually Rob's page right now. There's nothing in there, but this is his. And as soon as he begins to do a little bit of changing with that, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a bit, then that website becomes customized to whatever it is. So if Rob wants to put a big picture of himself, for example, he can do that. So, okay, back to what we're trying to do here. So once I get logged in here, feel free to nose around in here. Really, the place where we're going to be working is this thing called cPanel. And cPanel is the standard place for folks to be adding to or taking things away from their website. That said, most of these things you won't use. There are a couple of things that I just want to point out to you. Number one is this thing called File Manager. This is probably the most important one because this takes you to the place that has all of your files. So imagine if you were using your PC, you're going to be able to browse the files. It's the same with this. It's the same with this. So let me close this window and I'll just go back to this cPanel. There's a bunch of other things here. But the second one that I want you to begin to look at here is this thing called MySQL databases and the MySQL database wizard. So those two things, along with the PHPMyAdmin, are the things that we're going to be working on with a little bit throughout the rest of the class. Some of the other things that you might be interested in down, where are they at? Which section here? Under the email, you may be interested in establishing some email accounts for yourself to forward your email, that type of thing. That's just beneath the place where the files are. Also, in that section called Files, there's also the backup and the backup wizard. And I think before anyone begins to make a lot of changes, you probably want to take a full backup of all of the, basically the way everything's set up by default, and that way you know that if you wreck something by accident, you're going to be able to get back to it. It doesn't really mean anything to you at this point, but if you're going to do any project and you're not sure about it, I would always recommend trying to be able to set it up so that you can get back to the where you started. And you could use either one of those backup tools to do that. I'll take you through that kind of step by step once you guys get me your domains that you want. But feel free to nose around a little bit more in here. You can see at the top there's the portal client area, knowledge base, file manager. There's lots of stuff here. None of it really makes a lot of sense to you at this point, and it might not even at the end of the course. But this is how people work with websites for the most part these days. Websites are not necessarily built by creating files. They have files that access information in databases, and that's what this class is all about. So to put it in context, I want to begin to show you how the databases can influence what's presented on web pages. And you're not going to become a web programmer at the end of this class, but you're going to see how all that work you did in Access can be transferred over into a MySQL database, and then you can begin to access that. You can get to that information. Let's not use Access. You can get to that information by using something like PHP or some other method within something called cPanel. So cPanel has all the tools to allow you to be able to get around and make pages for yourself. Don't stress out over this at this point. This is just meant to be a little bit of a introduction to how to navigate around in this. If you don't spend the time, though, it's just not going to work. So I'd recommend spending a little bit of time, Okay, sorry about that. So basically, I want you to nose around in here a little bit. Make sure you get me your domain so I can actually set these accounts up for you. And this week, we will begin building some simple databases, things like that. All right, thanks.